The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. The Olympics are starting soon in South Korea. I believe in mid-February, right? Is that when the Olympics start?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Winter Olympics guy.
I'm just not a big Olympics guy in general. I used to be, but anyway, I'll watch some of the stuff. And Lester Holt, who's a reporter for NBC, he said that he spent some time in North Korea, in Pyongyang, and that he was treated with respect there, and that the NBC crew was treated with respect. And right-wing Twitter has flown off the handle on Lester Holt, saying he's normalizing, he's saying positive things, blah, 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 blah. This is so stupid because, number one, Trump for a year and a half has been alluding positively to Kim Jong-un, talking about he has great respect and it's amazing what he's been able to do, and he has a great relationship with him, which didn't make any sense. So first of all, if you're worried about Lester Holt just saying we were treated with respect because it's favorable, what about all the stuff Donald Trump has said? That's number one.
Yeah.
And then number two, just saying you were treated respectfully is not a compliment of the regime. You're just saying the people that were showing us around were respectful to us, period. That it seems so minor and like it's missing the forest for the trees when it comes to Trump's dealing with the regime.
Right. I mean, all he's saying is that they welcomed a camera crew and like a well-known NBC host with open arms because obviously they're like advertising and showing off their country, right?
Yes,
you would expect them to treat you with respect even though the governments don't agree and even though they don't treat their own people favorably.
The further complaint was that he was sort of describing positively a regime that even just recently led to the eventual death of Otto Warmbier, for example, and that it's disrespectful. I mean, I get that, you know, this is a very recent thing and that's horrible what happened. But I didn't really see Lester Holt as normalizing the regime. It just seemed, listen, they welcomed him. He was able to do a report. It's a very reclusive and sort of closed up place. And it just seems like a non-story to me.
Yeah, Eric Bolling, who had to leave Fox News over sexual harassment allegations.
Yes, of course.
He said on Twitter something to the effect of, oh, you thought that North Korea treated you respectfully? Tell that to the parents of Otto Warmbier.
Yeah.
But, like, why would he have any reservations about doing that? He would say, in my personal experience, and this may be odd and not the normal experience, they treated me respectfully.
Not to mention, he didn't deal with the people who were the captors of Otto Warmbier. He dealt with some hand-picked chaperones that were there to give the, you know, whatever tour or allow access to whatever it is they've determined is okay. It really just seems like a non-story, and it's part of this attack on the so-called fake news media. That's a total nonsense distraction that Donald Trump has successfully created.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's not like Lester Holt is some progressive champion.
No.
I mean, he doesn't even speak about his opinions too much on his nightly news show, I don't think, on NBC. But I think because he is on NBC, that's probably why they're going after him, right? Something to do with that?
Honestly, I don't know. It just seems like it's just...
Weird person to target.
Picking these weird fights and targeting strange people. There is some incredible video of a Chinese man who went into a store, and this is just so bizarre, and it's unclear whether the video has been doctored, but if we believe that the video is authentic, a man went into a store and he was looking for a replacement battery for his mobile phone, and something happened that I guess agitated him or upset him, and he bit his battery, his iPhone battery, and it burst into flames. And the video is almost cartoonish, which is what is making some people question whether the video is or isn't authentic. We don't know what kind of battery it was. We don't really know because the video is zoomed out whether it was actually a battery or if it's just being claimed that it's a battery. But it is still causing people to say, manufacturers to say, you don't want to bite a battery. You can conceive, it's possible. Remember with those 9-volt batteries when people would put them on their tongue?
Oh, it would shock
and
you a
your
little
tongue
bit.
would sort of close the circuit from positive to negative, and you would get like a small shock from it. The idea is that maybe something similar happened. And of course, without knowing the details of this battery, it's impossible to know. But manufacturers saying, don't put batteries in your mouth. It's not a good idea to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one theory is that he got agitated, so that's why he bit the battery. But then the other thing is that he may have been trying to test whether or not it was an authentic battery. And you know, some people will like bite into gold or other, materials to make sure that they're
I guess
authentic?
Can you tell?
Maybe that's what he was doing.
What if so? Gold is a sort of softer metal.
Yeah.
So if you bite it, what is it that you'd be able to determine?
I have absolutely no idea why they do it, but
Yeah.
people do this.
Interesting. And so the idea is he was testing the authenticity of the battery by biting into it to check.
Yeah, like what is that gonna...
to check the firmness of it or something like that. I encourage you to check out the video, and the explosion is just cartoonish, which is why I'm struggling with it. But what do you think about it? Do you think it's authentic video?
I think it's authentic video. It could have long-lasting ramifications, like maybe you're not going to be able to check these electronics on a plane, right? You got to bring it on with you as your carry-on luggage.
You're already supposed to bring on lithium-ion batteries as carry-on. I think that I just turned on a laser pointer. Did you see that? I think a laser pointer just came out of my mouse here. Is that
Should we test it on the aircraft outside?
Yeah, look at that. There is actually there's a little red light there, which I can flash. See, look at that. I'm putting it,
you can do it on my shirt.
Right at the camera. And then now it's on Pat's shirt. And what I would focus on, Pat, is this pocket right here. That's problematic for me. Anyway, I know that that's super boring to the radio audience, but I didn't realize, but this little scrolling wireless trackball I have to move things around has a built-in laser pointer.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't on the front of the package. That's a selling point.
I'm sure it was, but it wasn't a selling point for me, so I must not have.
We use that?
Not have noticed. We could use it for something. I don't know for what.
I don't know if there's like an image behind you that you want to like point out something specifically.
That's interesting, yeah, because
so
I
like
just
you have.
Say, so what we've got here is. Oh, it doesn't seem like it shows. Yeah, it doesn't show.
Oh, because of the screen.
That's too bad. Because I could point to Donald Trump's face or something. Okay, I apologize for that distraction. Back to the bonus show. There is this story that is told about inmates who escaped Alcatraz in the 1960s, and they tried to swim to safety, and they were never found. So there's basically two possibilities. They drowned because it's very cold and choppy water in that short swim between Alcatraz Island and San Francisco, California, or they made it to safety and were never caught because they hid out successfully for the rest of their lives. And I don't know exactly how old they would be today. Maybe they could conceivably still be alive.
Late 80s or maybe 90.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they might still be alive. I've been to Alcatraz. Alcatraz is the former island prison, which now is I believe now it's a state park in California. Yep. It's sort of managed as a state park, and I've been there twice.
I've been there once too.
It's very, very interesting.
It is cool.
And when I looked out, as they tell you the story of these inmates who escaped, it seems like it's certainly doable. I think it's a mile and a half or something like that. But the water is very cold, and unless you're a strong swimmer, if you've just been in prison for a while, and then willy-nilly you're going to swim a mile and a half in a pretty strong current, it's plausible, but it's not the most likely thing, right? That's the story so far. What was your thought on the swim to safety?
Well, they used a raft, at least at first. They made a raft out of raincoats.
Huh.
And it's amazing that they were able to store that away somewhere.
Yeah.
But at least for the beginning of the journey, I'd imagine they used that. Now, maybe the raft got swept away or they weren't able to paddle quickly enough. I think the water that night would have been like 50 degrees.
Very cold.
Which is very cold for water, yeah. So maybe they had to ditch it and made it to safety somehow. I certainly think it could have happened, right?
Sure, could have happened, but it's been one of these mysteries. And CBS San Francisco is now reporting that it obtained a letter allegedly written by one of the inmates, which contains an admission of escape and an explanation of their fate, where he said, "My name is John Anglin. I escaped from Alcatraz in June of 1962 with my brother Clarence and Frank Morris. I'm 83 years old and in bad shape. I have cancer. Yes, we all made it that night, but barely. If you announce on TV that I will be promised to first go to jail for no more than a year and get medical attention." I know I'm reading it. It doesn't. It's written.
That was how the letter was written.
Yeah, that's how the letter was written. "I will write back to let you know exactly where I am. This is no joke." This was sent to the San Francisco police station in 2013. The report said that the station got it from an unnamed source. It was tested for fingerprints, and the FBI said the results were inconclusive. And we may never know the results of this mystery. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that we should take that deal, right? Like he goes back to prison for a year I mean, he went initially into prison for bank robbery.
Yeah.
And this was over 50 years ago. So
Right.
I'd have to imagine we can forgive him for that. But he did evade justice for all that time.
Yeah,
He did escape out of prison.
When people evade justice, I don't know that we say because they successfully did it for a long time. It's sort of like you won because you stayed away long enough where we're not going to put you back in. I have trouble with that logic, and we've talked about it when it comes to Holocaust deniers. I'm sorry, Holocaust, what would you call them? Collaborators or perpetrators of horrible acts in the Holocaust, where when people like spend their entire life and they avoid capture,
like
and then
former
eventually
Nazi,
they're
like that bookkeeper.
Yes, yes, indeed. So I don't think that that's a good argument, but I've always been interested in this story. It is an interesting one, and do you think we'll ever know for sure?
Maybe not, and I don't know about this letter too, because there is one discrepancy, which is that he says in the letter that he's 83 years old.
Yeah,
and records show that he would be 90 at this point. Now, who knows? I mean, I know when you're talking about older individuals, sometimes if you go back far enough, they may not even know like the day that they were born. Maybe they just know the year.
But I think the letter was received in 2013.
Oh, okay.
And conceivably could have been written a year before, so it'd be close. Like he'd be almost 90. Maybe he's turning 90 in 2018. Meaning that he's 89, meaning in 2013 he would have been 84.
It could add up then,
and he could have written it in 2012 when he was 82 or 83 or something like that. I don't know.
That's certainly possible. There are also accounts of them sending like Christmas cards after they escaped from prison potentially.
Interesting.
And even attended, because two of them were brothers, they may have even attended their mom's funeral when she passed away several years after the escape.
Yeah.
And did so even though they were like FBI agents scouting the place out by wearing like women's garments.
Interesting.
Yeah, the whole thing is fascinating. It was on MythBusters. They made a movie out of it. Clint Eastwood starred in it.
Well, there it is. We may never know, but an interesting little follow-up to a story that is from 56 years ago.
Yeah,
this
long time. 6 years. Man, it feels like it was just yesterday.
All right, that's it for today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.